I wanted to mention a couple things quickly. I happened to be sitting in the car listening to public radio on my way to work, and it turns out they're reading this book that just came out about the pirate King Strange. Is it Strang? Does anyone know about him? From the 1840s, he was mainly Beaver Island, but he was involved with Washington Island in this area.
Oh.
He's a little bit of a crazy guy. We have a bunch of books about him in the Laurie History Room. And I think they're on like part 4, but you can listen to the chapter a day on Wisconsin Public Radio if you want to catch up. And we do have the book, but it's checked out. So I thought I'd mention that because he's a really interesting, crazy character. From, as I say, the 1840s, he actually was a Mormon who settled on Beaver Island, and he called himself a king, and he had a castle there and all this sort of thing. So
Do we need to have a treasure hunt? Did he bury anything there?
no, I think just the opposite. He was more of a scammer type guy. But the book cover is a modern day book about this person. So
Gee, I thought we could have a field trip or something. That'd be fun.
So the other thing I want to mention is coming up in December, and I don't have the date when you know, but mid-December, we're going to have an author talk with Dan Powers, who is from Door County. I don't know if any of you know Dan Powers. And this is on the website now. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He was working on the census committee with me. And he's just written this book, and we're going to talk to him about it. But it's interesting because it's based on his genealogy research. So it's saying here, it talks about 1918 Chicago influenza and 3 different generations. And basically, he did all this research, then he wrote historical fiction. So it's kind of a fun idea. And I hope you'll be able to come in. I'm going to ask him how he turned his research into fiction. I mean, I've come across so many good stories. I'm sure you all have too in your genealogy. And it's kind of neat that he actually did that.
And it's December 9th at 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
I thought I printed it out, but I didn't, but yeah.
2 p.m. Sandra?
What?
It's on our calendar.
Okay.
December 9th.
Yeah, that's a Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah. So does anyone have anything new to talk about? Anyone, do you want to go around? We have, were you raising your hand?
I
I've been working on something, and I haven't really, up until this point, spent much time, but lately I've been kind of getting my feet wet, and I've been finding some interesting things. So I've just looked at some biblical from my mom's Bible about a few things that she had listed, and I found something that I thought was kind of interesting, but I don't know exactly where to find it. But she says that on the muster roll of the New Orleans list was one of my Caswell Frank Chapman was in the 23rd Texas Cavalry for the Confederate side. And then it had listed something about the Matthew D. Ector Camp 234, and that he was chaplain. So it looks kind of like I got a bingo according to what she's got for a connection on Civil War for one of my relatives. So I'm trying to figure out how I can verify that. She said something about, the veterans membership roll. So I don't know.
We have a couple links on the library website of Civil War soldiers and things. You could look there. Fold 3, of course, if you can access that, is the genealogy or the military side of Ancestry. And you can write away to the National Archives for a full record, but it's expensive.
Ancestry works. I found a bunch of stuff on some Civil War in my wife's side of the family.
Yeah.
And even found some of the letters that were written back and forth between the captains and the enlisted men and things. But Ours was more on the Union side. I don't know if yours doesn't sound like it would probably be on the Union side, so there may be more. I don't know.
Was your person, he fought in a Texas regiment?
No,
Well,
this,
Yes.
oh yeah.
No,
sorry.
hers, yeah.
The
I-
20,
what-
it said the
what he was
23rd Texas Cavalry, 23rd Texas Cavalry.
Okay, because you could go to the, like on Family Search or Ancestry or something, to that state, and then they'll bring up records, whether they're indexed or not, of what they have available that you could possibly look at. But was he from Texas or from Wisconsin?
He was not from Wisconsin. He
Okay.
never set foot in Wisconsin.
Because you could go, a few of those guys fought with a different state, but like say they fought for Virginia, but they lived in Maryland just across the border. So you could go to both states, both where he lived and who he served with. But like you could start with, I'd say Family Search or Ancestry.
Right.
The Fold 3 is a pay site usually, but you could go to those for free. Oh no, you can't do it. Well, you can do Ancestry through the library now till the end of the year. And just I'll look for, I don't know, I see sometimes it just says muster rolls, or it says participants or something, look for some little catch there.
Did you try a Google search? I found stuff just putting in a name
Yeah.
and the regiment, and wow, a lot of stuff came up.
Or
Wow, no.
newspapers too. You could
Yeah, well, that's
try
where a lot of it came from, was the newspapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can I show
what-
something on the website quickly?
Sure.
Let me share this screen. This is our genealogy local history page. And if I can get it to move, down under online resources, there is a link to Civil War sailors and soldiers database.
Oh, cool.
And
Very
you
cool.
might look in there.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
I'll work on that. I also don't know about this, what to do exactly, but I found a relative that is on Ancestry, but it looks like he's got like the family tree is like a private thing. So I don't know, I can't really access the information.
You
You'd have
can
to write to
email
the-
them.
Just email them.
There's usually a little contact off to the, well, I think it's off to the right, where it says, contact this person and ask them nicely. That's their
Yeah,
favorite
They
word.
always say that.
Well, I kind of did that already, but I think he doesn't, it was his deceased wife that actually was working on this, so I don't think he's knowledgeable how to like get in there and unlock it or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Don't forget to
It's kind
go,
of a stalemate that way. I guess we'll have to try and work around that unless somebody had some clues.
I don't know. It's very
I
common.
could-
A lot of people, unfortunately, don't seem to respond to any of the messages I leave.
Yeah.
a good thing to remember, and this is totally free, is to go to the Family Search Wiki and look up Texas archives or Texas history. And you will be amazed at the information,
Yeah.
the sites that they tell you about where you can go and look for things. And I just Googled, what I did here is I just Googled Texas genealogy, okay? And it came up with several things. But one of the things it came up with was the Texas State Library, which has the archives, okay? It has Texas online genealogy records and Family Search, which you can get through the wiki. And so, don't, and also the other thing, which is free, is go to Cindy's List.
Oh,
okay?
yeah. Yeah.
Go to
Cindy's
Cindy's
List?
List and see, that's another free site. Go to Cindy's List and you have to kind of figure out how she's categorized everything. But once you kind of get a feel for how she's categorized, you'd be amazed how much information she has that you can look up for Texas for Texas, well, for any subject in genealogy.
She usually breaks
Okay,
it down. You can go to like genealogy within her list. And then
Right,
it'll bring
right.
up the
Is that
genealogy.
just like cindy'slist.com or something? Is that how you?
yes, I believe so.
I
Let me
think
look.
That's right.
I don't have it with, I mean,
Let me
yeah.
look here
You
real
should be
quick.
able to
Well,
Google
that
it.
should probably be enough for me. Googling it should probably be enough for me to figure it out.
Yes.
Do
It's-
do you do?
Okay, it's CYNDISLIST.com, just like you'd think. Cindy's
Okay.
List.
Do you
One
ever
word.
do? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, you can
Another-
search the groups on Facebook.
Yes,
And there's something like Texas genealogy, or maybe there's something, more specific like San Antonio or something like that. But you can look to see what groups are there, and you
Mhm.
can, if they're not public, you can ask to join them. Then you can post a question. Hey, can anybody help me find this guy wherever, and so on. And they're so helpful. Most of my lists are extremely helpful because I've gotten a lot of contacts from there too. So
Well,
you
maybe
could
that-
just search your Facebook groups, look for something genealogy, Texas, whatever you can
I
think of.
just did that. I went into the groups on Facebook and I got Texas Genealogy Network, Texas History and Frontier Genealogy, Texas State Genealogy Society, that's Texas State Genealogy. Is he Irish? Because there's an Irish Texan history site.
I think they're mostly British or English,
Okay, South
but
Texas
there might
History.
be. I don't know.
Yes,
It's hard to say.
Texas History and
That's
Genealogy
helpful.
Library. These are, and there's other ones too, but those are the ones that you can find. So, and Laura gave you some more that we have, or that she has, Door County Library has. That's Laura.
Yeah.
Family Search Wiki might also have some groups.
Oh yeah, they
associated
probably
with
have
that
other
as
ones
well, and they
too.
have some experts that might be able
Yeah.
to really help you, so.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
out-
that's good.
They're
I
out there all
also
over.
had, wait,
Well,
just
come back
wait a
to
minute.
us in 6
Ron's
months and let
talking
us
to me at the same time. I'm having trouble here for a
come
second.
back to us in 6 months and tell us if you've gotten all these now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting pretty confused, believe me. I don't know. But anyway, I found some interesting things. I'm trying to make sure it's like a bingo, that it's actually, the actual path. But it was like amazing to me that it was going back to where it seemed like both sides of my grandparents were here in this country even before it was a country. So
Yeah.
like in the, the time frame is, it kind of looks like, if this is true, and that's kind of mind blowing to me, because I guess I expected everybody was just immigrating, much later, but if they were kind of some of the founding fathers, so to speak, if they're here in 1740, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I don't know how to, it's going to be kind of hard to touch base with that, but
Well, some of it's available, I found, but the farther back you go, say pre 1800, you really got to dig to try to find unless you get lucky, unless it was somebody who was the governor of the state or something like that. But so don't get frustrated. I mean, just keep plugging at it. But it is a little harder to find because a lot of those states didn't have to record births or deaths or marriage, or they could bury Uncle Joe in the backyard. No one would know. So
Which states are you
that's-
looking for? Which states are you specifically?
I think it was actually Tennessee, I want to say.
Okay,
And I don't think Tennessee was really Tennessee then, but, and South Carolina.
Well,
you could check the New England
So-
American Ancestry Group. They've got a lot of information pre-1800s. In fact,
That's
one of the
right.
things I've been working on my wife's side. She's got family coming in, and I'm getting it documented now back in 1618. So-
Steve, even if they're not they didn't stay in New England area?
Right, they follow
Even
them.
if they move, okay.
Right.
I've nosed around a little bit there, but I just sort of figured, well, we didn't stay there and we went elsewhere.
If
Right.
you have family that came through New England area back in the 1600s, 1700s,
Yeah,
I mean, they've got lots and lots of copies of the actual records that they maintained at their meetings showing births and deaths, marriages and christenings and all the things like that. And it's, you know,
Right.
it's not easy because, you know, there's, like in her family, there's 6 generations in a row that were chasing Johns. Okay. And that's not exactly an uncommon name out there. So when you're going through it all, you have to make
Right.
sure you get the right lineage.
I've got about 40 Williams. Oh, for God's sakes.
Oh,
And
yeah. That's
and
gonna
the
be
last
challenging.
names are Gray and Johnson. Now, you know, how many millions are those around?
Well, now that you say Gray, and it looks like I have that name also popped up on my line.
Oh, maybe we're related. Wouldn't that be fun?
They're all
Check
related.
your DNA.
Go back 6 generations. We're all
I
right.
know.
All 6 generations are all related.
Betty tried logging in on her phone. It says it's waiting. I'm sorry, whoever's the facilitator. It says waiting for host to let you in.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I apologize.
Okay, I'm connecting now. All right.
Oh, by the way, the
Sorry,
population in the
was slow.
United States is 1780 was 2,780,400. Just for your information. So
Yeah,
You're so good with popping out those.
yeah, and the population was 4.5 people per square mile.
God, I want you on my trivia team, Tom.
There you go. Well, as long as I got the computer here, I can look it up.
Did anyone else have a
I do.
research that, yeah, Mary Ellen?
Well, this is kind of, I'm looking for a portable handheld scanner. Does anybody
Oh.
have any? Do you use any? Can you recommend? I've heard of the Flip Pal.
What are you going to do? What kind of scanning are you going to do?
Well, somewhat larger documents, but also I would like to, on a side story, scan large, like construction plans or septic system, you know, I don't know, the bigger sheets.
That's commercial stuff. That's a whole
Yeah,
nother
I had a
thing.
little hand scanner
Thought it might
and
work.
I don't use it because it didn't work that
I have
well.
I have a flatbed multi-printer scanner thing. It's
Yeah.
an Epson, and let me tell you, I scanned photos off of it, the old photos, touch them up, and they come out like
Oh,
perfect.
yeah. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
the same
Do you have
thing.
a,
And it cost me all of
Scan-
$60.
do you have,
And for a quick scan, of one piece of 8.5 by 11, I just use the phone.
Use your
Yeah.
phone.
I have
Yeah,
two.
just
I
use the
was just
phone
wondering
and
if
it
it
works
was-
just fine. You can send it to yourself and
Yeah, I was wondering if, you know, sometimes when you get into the archives, you know, you can't photocopy but I thought maybe I could scan.
no.
Oh, no.
Take a
No.
picture and blow it up, huh?
Tom, you know that as well as anybody.
No,
No, okay,
no.
all right.
They want you to pay
Okay,
per page.
that's,
Well, which you can't blame them.
well, no, I know, I suppose. But I know I've been using my phone and I have an Epson plain old all-in-one printer that scans and I just do the scan document thing that they've got built in and it's been working fine.
And
But I was thinking,
just zap up your, resolution a little bit and you'll get some really nice stuff. Don't go too
Yeah.
much resolution, but zap it from what the standard is. And you'll,
yeah. Okay, so I know I've resisted the handheld because it sounds like a big come on to me, but
I tried buying one and I just don't use it because it didn't work that well.
yeah, that's what I kind
was
of
a few years
deduced, but
ago.
I thought I'd check on all your experience,
Oh, Dave's there. Hi, Dave.
Hi. Didn't Mike have one, Tom?
Yeah, he did. He had what was
He had a
it
couple
called?
of them, I think, yeah.
Yeah, he did, and he probably still does. But it was one that the like the Wisconsin State Genealogy Society recommended and offered, and I
Yeah.
can't remember what the name was. And it was a portable scanner.
They were a couple $100 too. They weren't.
Yeah, they were a couple. That one was a couple $100.
You know, I'll pop for 30, $50, but
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah, a couple hundred. Yeah, that's a sizable investment.
They
Yeah.
got to think.
Especially if I'm not going to use it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh, well.
Did you have another, was that your main question or did you?
Well,
have-
that's all I could think of prior to our meeting.
I
I
did.
have one question about the library. How large are if the copier, is it 8.5 by 11? Or if you had something larger, do you have a larger paper size
Yeah,
there?
it can go up, I think, to double that,
Okay,
but it'll
Right.
be like 50 cents instead of 25,
Oh,
okay,
something
good.
like
you can
that.
afford that.
yeah. I know, I got I was just recently at my sister's house, and like I say, we went through and got a lot of this stuff that I want to, like get larger and kind of work on from there. So you'll be seeing me at the library.
Yeah,
So
I
what
hope
did
that, I know the one in the back room does exactly double, but I think this one, the one out in the public does too. It does do larger than just 8.5 by 11.
Betty,
Yeah.
Betty, what did you do? Did you take a picture with your phone and
Yes.
now you want to print?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Okay.
that's what I did. So
Because that's
I'll
how
have to,
it's been.
I'll have to like attach it or something, an email or something. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. And then download it and then maybe, I guess, get it printed off of there. I think I can do that
Yeah.
in a file and then print it. But I did use my phone because she didn't want me to have the documents, so.
Yeah. We get it any way we can.
Yeah, right. So,
Did you want us to mention the status of our, go over our where we are in our?
Yeah, if anyone
Laura?
wants to do that.
Well, I
Okay,
have a
well, I
couple
do
of,
have a couple things I want to say.
I just had a couple of things I wanted to mention. The couple of, did you ever see that? Did you ever look at that family search seminar they had, Tom, on Germany? I know you said you taped it.
Yes, I did. I watched it and it was a
long.
lot of information.
It was
And-
outstanding.
And in fact, I'll ask you this question. I thought I read somewhere that they said they were going to record it and it was going to be available until the 30th of November,
Yep.
and I can't find it.
Well, I
the
haven't looked for
recording.
it because I've got a half a book of notes I took at it, but
Yeah, I thought they said that they recorded it, and I went to the Sacramento website, to the club website, and I went to their web page or their Facebook page, and it said it'll be in the Learning Center at
Family Search.
Family Search. So I went to that, and it's not in there.
Not
At least
there.
I couldn't find it. So
How about YouTube? Possibly.
well,
do
I
they put
suspect
on
it is a
YouTube?
YouTube. Yeah, that
Well,
would be the
it
next.
probably is YouTube, but it probably is on their site because it was 4 hours worth of.
Oh yeah, it was 4 hours and very
I
detailed.
sat through all of it
I mean,
and
oh, good old what's her name? What was the last woman?
oh,
Oh,
was-
she's German.
she was German. I can't think of her name. Bernie
Oh,
or
I
something.
can't think of her name.
Here, let me
Not
think. I
Olga,
got
but
it.
something like that. And she was doing newspapers and going into these German newspapers, and I was like, oh yeah, right, I'm going to do that.
Barbel Johnson.
There you go. That's what it
Well,
is.
the thing they have though is they have translation built in, and you can use your translations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they have a
but
guy
still.
there that knows 3 different levels of German that he'll help you for nothing. Translate
Where?
to it if you find it, seriously.
Where
I
is
just
it?
wanted to mention that they have another one coming up, and I'm going to attend that one on November 20th.
Do you have the website or anything,
Well,
information?
you just go to the Family Search site, but this is on pre-1800s immigration from Norway. Now, we have
Yeah.
a lot of Norwegian in our
Hmm.
family
I think
tree.
you just go to the family search.org and look up webinars. And
Webinars.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think they show up. They give you a list. Each month they'll give you a list, and then you can get on their newsletter, I believe, and they'll send you a new list every month.
But
Okay,
if
and
you
then of
have any
course
Norwegian,
you'll probably get periodic
oh yeah, you get
reminders
things
too.
from them. But I
Is
just
that-
thought everybody has Norwegian, that's that. And then there's another one on the 14th of November that Appleton is putting on using newspapers. I think this is
Yeah.
English though, Tom. Well, who knows?
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
Is that free? Are those free
both of
webinars?
them are free.
yeah.
Oh,
If it's family search, it's probably free.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's what I figured, but
but I thought the German one, they really taught us a lot about the using the Family Search Wiki and their community groups. And that might be something that Betty would be interested in, the community
Yeah.
group there. Where
Right.
if you need an answer to something, somebody probably knows where it is or what it is and will do it for you. They'll do translations for you. So I thought it was well worth the time I spent doing it. It was one of those rainy days anyways, it didn't make any difference.
Right.
So,
That's nice. Thanks for the hint on that. Yeah, the German side, I think, well, I can't do both at the same time. I'm already getting confused, just trying to stay on my mother's side.
oh, good luck.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and concentrate on a certain way. And that was not German at all. That was all English. And I thought, well, maybe it's the same language. It might be easier. So we'll see. But
Well, they did the geography of Germany and everything. They had a whole session on the geography and the changes that took place over
Yeah, the
last
history of it,
100 years. And
well,
that
that's
was just,
really interesting. Yeah.
that was fascinating. So I'd spend the time if you have any German background you want to find out.
Yeah, I will. But that you really got by the family search and then with webinars, right? That's
Yes.
how you
Yeah.
did that. Right? Okay.
So, but it's,
All right,
other than that, all I'm doing is just trying to go back on my wife's side and verify things back into the early 1600s. So I'm amazed at her family that they were here in this country from 1616, it looks like on.
Wow.
Side, yeah.
That's really awesome.
But they didn't come on the Mayflower and they weren't at Jamestown or any of that. I don't know how, I'm still trying to figure out how they actually arrived. But I guess there were lots of
Maybe
ships.
there's
Maybe
one.
they came into, wasn't it, was it North Carolina or South Carolina? Where
No,
all
they
the
came in through Boston.
convicts came to? Wasn't it?
They
wasn't
came
that
in
where
through
all the
Boston. I've
convicts
got
came
somebody, I verified somebody in 1631 coming in from into Boston.
Oh.
Actually drowned in the harbor.
You didn't hear what I
almost.
said.
I know, I'm trying to ignore you, Tom.
Well, it seems like mine came into Port of Philadelphia
Okay,
on one side, and the other side, they've been here a long time. And this one woman on one of my Facebook groups, because she said chances are they just came on a ship in Virginia, just came on a ship, went up the James River,
mhm.
decided this is a nice place and stopped. And I'm beginning to think that's, what they must have done because they didn't come in through any port that I can find.
Yeah, back then, that's what they did. As you
Yeah.
get into the later 1700s, it was more structured, more ports. And
Right. And this was a little before that. So I haven't got it totally documented, but it's looking like it's the mid 1750s that they came over. But still trying to find more info on that to prove it. But
Yeah, I
And
have
that-
some.
I think that's the time
Okay.
frame that mine are all over here about 1740, 50.
yeah,
To me, that's really cool. So just gonna have to
can you imagine? I think back, can you imagine just packing up what you got, getting on this probably a rickety old boat, and going across the ocean and just,
Yeah,
and so
Wow.
many made it. There were so many horror stories, but so many people made it. It just is amazing to me. The trust or faith or whatever that they put into it to take a journey like that to get here.
I have some New York Dutch who came over in the mid 1600s. And one of them was a founder of Poughkeepsie, New York. I
Oh,
think it is.
Oh,
Yeah, and the most fun thing, I think I mentioned this before, is ultimately I matched two ladies who were related to 1700, had DNA to match with me to the same family, the Oostrom family. So even though it was a tiny, tiny bit of DNA, I knew from our family trees that we got it right.
Wow.
It was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really
Wow.
fun. And luckily I took a screenshot because one of the ladies is gone and her family tree is gone now. So I'd recommend if you find something really spectacular, be sure you make a copy of it.
Yeah, because otherwise that information could also all of a sudden go behind a paywall. I found
You never know.
stuff a few years ago that I can't get back to now because they put it behind a paywall. You
Yeah.
know,
So
you never
make a
know when
copy.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Hi, Steve.
I do have one thing a couple of things I wanted to mention. I think I mentioned a while back that I was contacting the Würzburg, Germany
Yeah.
archives.
Uh-huh.
And I did contact them and just sent them an email in plain English, which I hope to be plain, which I think was plain English, and told them what I wanted for my, the parents of my my second great grandfather and my dad's side. And I did get a response, an email back, and they said that they don't, at the archives, they don't do research, okay, themselves. What they do is they have a list of contractors that you can hire to go do the research. And I haven't followed that up. I figured, well, I'll do that some other time. So I guess that's a dead end for now because, but that's okay. So then I switched over to my wife's side and I started following her mother's father's side, which is Adams, okay? And it's not a direct line to John or John Quincy Adams, but it probably comes from the same Adams, just further up. And so, but they go back to the early mid 1600s coming over here, and somebody in the family, I don't know who, or has gone back even further into, I think, the 1400s over in England. So, I'm looking forward to following that through and documenting it with their sources, because I have an ancestor that was at the Salem witch trials. I have an ancestor who was or not me, my wife does, an ancestor that was in the Revolutionary War, a couple of them, in fact. And then she has an ancestor that supposedly was a relation to Abraham Lincoln, not down his line because he didn't have any. He had a couple of sons, but in fact, somebody in that line made a quilt that my wife has, Linda has. So
Oh,
I'm really,
wow.
looking forward to doing that, going through that. So I have my work for this winter. So thank you very much.
Never ends.
Yeah, no, it never ends.
Because I thought of another question. I had a lot of Masons I'm finding in my family, and I've written to the Grand Lodge in Virginia and Maryland, and I did Wisconsin because there's one offshoot, but I did have a few confirmations. Yes, we had so-and-so registered. One of them was in upper positions, but my question, should I pursue it? Is there a way, if anybody's a Mason or knows of or researched this, I thought perhaps they might have, if they wanted to join, that they might have more biographical information. For instance, in Virginia, there were 3 William Grays in the same stinking small town. And I'm trying to differentiate between them. So I told the guy, well, mine was married to Betsy Rowe. And they totally ignored that, aspect. They just said, we have one listed as so-and-so and whatnot, but it really did not clear up any information. Has anyone dealt with Masonic lodges or have any Masons in your family or something along those lines? No.
Well, my dad was a Mason, but he never spoke of it.
No, they can't, I guess, to a large
Uh,
degree.
I
You
mean,
might-
he never went to the meetings or anything. I think it was something he did early on, like maybe when he was early 20s before he even met my mom or something. I don't really know about it, but I know that it was a surprise to me. So whatever it was, he wasn't very practicing.
You
Yeah,
might ask the people in town. The Masons in town, if
Masons
they
here?
know how
Oh.
things work.
okay. Well, Steve, Dennis Bay used to be one,
How
but
about Tom Penny Jr.?
Tom Penny Jr.?
Yeah, he's big in that.
Oh, okay.
I think he's still alive, right?
Junior is, I think.
I was there when Senior died.
Yeah,
High school. I was right across from him.
okay.
Tom Penny Senior. He was at a dinner and he went home
I
and
just wondered if they were allowed to give further, if they had further info in their files and were allowed to tell you it, but
Well, you can ask them.
yeah.
Tom should be able to tell you.
Who else, Steve?
Tom should be able to tell you.
Oh, Tom.
Dennis probably is gone.
Yeah. All right.
I'm trying to think who else. Otto. No, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember the guys. They have the dinner,
Yeah, I know, but I guess I didn't pay any attention.
But if anybody
Now
can
when
tell
I
you,
look
Tom
at-
can. And if not, ask a funeral director on who comes to the Masonic things at the funerals, and they can give you a bunch of names.
Ooh, good. Thanks. Good tip.
They do a service, at a funeral.
That's right.
The Evergreens.
Todd and Mark. Okay.
Yep.
I'll ask them.
I
suppose-
had another question. I heard this, and I'm not sure if any of you know about that, but like back in, but particularly in England, some of the early 1600s, like if they had two people in town, like John Chapman, that they might name one junior, but it didn't really mean that it was his father. He wasn't really a junior. It's just that he was younger of the two champions in town, or they would call the oldest one senior. But it really didn't have the connection
Related.
by having another relation named after them.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
run
guys,
across that. Yeah.
have you heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I had on one of my lineage there, it did say junior, but we didn't get the senior. The father, we could kind of tell wasn't, so it didn't make sense to me.
Did you have a Chapman?
Do I have yeah, we have lots of Chapmans.
I do too.
And what would you, that's the line that Chapman and Harrison, those are the two that I'm working on now.
What part of England?
Well, mostly London area. I think London. I have to look. If there's a like Brightonfield or something, Bridfield.
Mhm.
Do you have Chapman, or are you looking for
Ours
Chapman?
were north, I think, but I'd have to double check. I haven't looked for
Yeah.
a while.
I haven't. Well, this is like kind of new. I'm trying to figure out still the Tennessee, South Carolina, coming Texas, across the country. And this would be, and I have some name, but I think it's outside of London. And I don't know if it's Bridfield County or something like that. I'm thinking some of it might even be, my granddaughter's living in London right now. If I could hit pay dirt, then I would have her go over and see if she could find, maybe there'd be a gravestone or something.
So my Chapmans came in the late 1800s from England.
Did they? Okay, yeah. I think that this was earlier, but it's Chapman. So
Yeah.
well, I'll have to show you what I got when I've got it figured out.
Have you done DNA? Have you done DNA?
I have, no, but my sister and my mom did. But, I guess I just haven't got around to do that.
Well, everybody's Scottish now, you know.
Oh, I had a little bit of Scottish.
They changed the algorithm, so there's a lot
Oh.
more Scots floating around.
Is there? Yeah, I don't know. Then you wonder about accuracy, huh?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a needlepoint that says Betty Chapman, 1830, which is
Wow.
one of my prized possessions.
That's cool.
Do
Yeah.
you
I don't
think,
think we have, I don't think
it
we
was
have.
one of those schoolgirl, what do they call them? When the schoolgirls
Practice.
would,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think it's that?
I think it might be, yeah. It
Oh.
has a lot of, we have it framed. My mother had it framed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
really
was
nice. thing.
Maybe, was she an Elizabeth? Because I have Elizabeth Chapman. Did she go by?
Well, these
was
were
she-
all in England still.
Oh.
And
still on
they
the-
were from Surrey, I guess. So that is near London.
Is it? Oh. Interesting. I'll have to show you if you're at the library the same time
Yeah.
I am. I'm making copies. Maybe you could take a peek.
Okay,
That would be cool.
yeah.
Is
You
that
never know.
copier just black and white? You were talking about at the library.
What was that?
Is the copier just black and
No,
white?
no, it's fancy now. It does color or black and white.
Good
They're
to
all 25 cents a page. It can do, printing or photocopying. It's
In
very,
March.
very nice.
The
You know?
one in the back room too?
No, yeah, the one in the front.
The one-
It's for
yeah.
Public. It's
But what
brand new.
about the back room one?
That one's the same, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're
50
it's
cents
very
a-
nice.
Ah,
Not
Sandra,
easy to use.
Sandra, I got a question for you.
yes.
Is that a quilt behind you on the wall?
No, it's just a plastic coated tablecloth, but I figure I'm not gonna have any people over for Thanksgiving. So
Oh, okay, okay. I thought maybe it was a quilt behind you.
It almost
Okay.
looks like a Hmong,
yeah, it's
one of those Hmong
right.
things.
Just a whole bunch of Thanksgiving kind of stuff.
Ah,
Yeah.
I like it. I'm a big folk art person. So that looks like a wonderful piece of folk art to me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Well, I have one story I'll throw out there, and it's not resolved yet, but when we looked into our family history, this is would be my great-grandmother, Phillips is the last name, and they were all in the DAR, she and her daughters, and when you get the paperwork, it said that they had a Phillips family Bible that was burned, but they're basing a lot of their heritage to
Oh,
this
Jesus.
one Phillips in the Revolutionary War on that burned or lost Bible. And so we never knew much about it, but all of a sudden my sister was communicating with someone from that who's related in, through that family. And she said some older lady had this Bible in her attic. So now we're desperate to see pictures of it. So we have not resolved that yet, but it's like after about, 15 years looking for this mysterious Bible, it's maybe going to appear.
Did you fill out the DAR paperwork?
No,
Laura?
I've never applied, but we got their paperwork, and
We're
that's
too
it.
cheap to do it, so.
What?
Well,
We're too cheap. It's several $100s to,
Is
yeah.
it? Really?
oh yeah, it's fairly expensive to do it.
I'm starting to do that, Steve. Put the pieces together. Whether I go for it eventually, we'll see. But they are quite a bit fussier nowadays.
Yeah, I don't think they
Yeah.
were that fussy back then.
No, and they're
It's quite a
going,
process.
they're going through some of their older records, because when I go on the website, they'll show you whatever person you're looking up. They'll show you who else may have submitted paperwork for that. And there's a lot of them with the big red letters. This is under
Review.
review or something like that. We found pieces. I thought, boy, they were loose as a goose back in the early days. But They're really strict now.
Yeah, and we were never quite sure if they could prove that we had an ancestor in the war. But then my sister and I did find evidence of a little pay slip that he was in the New York families. And he wasn't like a full soldier, but apparently he marched, the village or whoever they were marched for like 2 months somewhere and came back.
Yeah.
And so he has a pay slip from the war. So he was actually.
You didn't actually have to fight. You could have been someone who provided supplies
Yeah.
or,
And they were in the Hudson Valley, so they actually had things going on right around them.
yeah.
We found a DAR registration for one of my wife's family people. So
Yeah,
for us to do it would be pretty easy. All we have to do is verify the
Yeah.
tie between her, and it was only a generation or two apart. So from the
See,
40s. So
that's what we
it-
have, but is it valid? Who knows? As
Well, I don't know. I've got a copy of it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm already back to, I have to make the link between, I don't know how many great grandfather to the marriage of this other guy. And that's one guy. I have to prove that my ancestor was a brother of another Appleby. And then I'd be like Flynn, but I can't quite find the proof that my ancestor was the actual brother, although everybody knows it, but I can't find it in writing.
I think
Yeah.
I found ours for my wife, and it was somebody had done it in the late 30s or the early 1940s. So all we had to do was tie to that person, and then you could just hitch on their.
Yeah.
wagon.
But I can't.
But it was still going to be $200 or $300, and we just looked at each other and said, "Who cares?"
Is
Well,
there an
that's what I'm
advantage
wondering.
to joining? Is there any advantage?
Not to my knowledge.
Nah.
You don't get any
Say
extra.
you're part of the
Bragging
DAR.
rights, I guess.
Yeah, and then you can get a little plaque on your gravestone.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I was
didn't
able,
know
I
that.
was able to supply the documentation for my daughter to join just because she wanted to say basically bragging rights, I guess. And realistically, it also verified my documentation.
Mhm.
And the Patriot, who is my 6th or 7th great grandfather, he signed the oath of allegiance. He wasn't a soldier or anything, but there are certain things that, so it's like you say, it's people that provided things. But in this case, it was just that he signed the oath of allegiance, and that was enough. And he was in Dutchess County in New York at that time. And
See, that's where ours was.
yeah,
What cities or what little villages? Fishkill and Kinderhook?
Red Hook.
So they
And
must have
in
been
fact,
nearby.
his house is still there, and
Wow.
his son, who would be my, I don't know, 5th or 6th great uncle. The story there is that and his house is still there, that when he was putting the rafters on his house, he was doing it on July 4th, 1776.
Oh, wow.
That's a legend.
And that's in local, I don't know how accurate it is, but it's I found it in a local historical newspaper type thing, a historical society.
God, what fun. What were you doing on that day? Oh, well.
And there is a Facebook group for that area, genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Well, fun. I'm related to 2 people here, maybe.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
I know.
Jeez.
That'd be cool. Exactly. Well, I think they have monthly meetings, or I don't know if you're part of that, DAR group. I guess now that I'm learning, you can get a plaque and put it on your gravestone. But I didn't really know. I
Well,
mean, maybe just share.
I don't
stories.
think my daughter ever went to a meeting. At the time she was living in Kiwanee, and the group was in Green Bay,
Green Bay.
and
Oh.
she said it sounded like they were pretty hoity-toity, and she didn't want anything to do with that. So
I believe you. When I searched on the database to find the local chapter, it is in Green Bay somewhere. I think it was De Pere, but I went to the meeting in De Pere, but it was the Green Bay group. And It was very nice. It was if you want, get started, and they had people around to help you. But I couldn't kind of relate to the person that was assigned to me. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing bad, I don't want to say, but I mean, it just was one of those where the chemistry, I'm kind of going, I don't know about this. And yeah, I got the same feeling too, a little bit hoity-toity, a little, but I don't want to cast aspersions, but it just wasn't, I thought, I think I'll do this on my own. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone have anything else to add? Did I ever show you Recollection Wisconsin and the DPLA? Has anyone used any of that for doing research? The Digital Public Library of America?
Oh,
No,
no, I haven't.
no,
I
I
don't know
haven't
that
either. Why don't you show us?
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to have any direct, let's see, where does it say? I lost, there it is. Any direct help for you, but the Digital Public Library, whoops, let me go here, of America. That was my Chapman's. I was looking up quickly for you. This is the DPLA. It's just, the website is, as you can see here, dp.la. And what it is it aggregates institutions all over the country, all kinds of them. So universities and Smithsonian and you name it are all, their searches are, their data, their digital works are in their own institutions, but this searches across the whole range of things. And they started out with a small group of organizations, and then every year they add some, and Wisconsin was like the second tier of institutions added, and they have something like 6 different places that feed data into this site, and the State Historical Society, the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Recollection Wisconsin, and some others like that. So this is Recollection, whoops, that's not the link I wanted. This thing pops down on me where I can't see what's going on. Let me grab it. Okay, this is Recollection Wisconsin. So if you have Wisconsin Genealogy, it's this is doing the same thing. It's feeding, it's a website where you can search across many institutions in the state of Wisconsin. So the university in Milwaukee and Madison and the Milwaukee Public Library, and we're in here also because I did some things for our library system, the Door County Memory Project. So those are filtered in here. So you might come here and just search for things. I think it's, let's see, if we put in Door County, what will come up? It's just a good place to start looking for just a lot more information. And
But that would be,
Yeah.
that would be with regards to Wisconsin.
Pardon me.
Everything will be Wisconsin through that DPLA?
no, this is Recollection Wisconsin, which is one of the places. All of this information is filtered into the DPLA. So
Oh.
places all over the country are going there. So this is where you can go to find specifically Wisconsin, but this will all also be filtered into
Other states.
the bigger one for the entire country. And you can see, you can do text or images, all sorts of different ways of searching. So it's pretty interesting. And just on the side, they have a site called, instead of the whole, this one is Recollection Wisconsin. Now they're putting .dpla, but just recollectionwisconsin.org, sorry. This is their extra one that they made for people to, any individuals like us, regular people off the street, not the big organizations, can post things here. If you have something that you think it would be interesting for people about Wisconsin history. So I had a program a while back with Right on Door County. And what we did was they were helping people write memoirs. So this is one memoir. In the end, my goal was to have a bunch of them post here, but they didn't get to that point. Just one lady did post here. So she wrote her memoir of Martin Park. And I think it's pretty neat that this is her actual story, Jean. And then she had a couple pictures and we sent those in and they put it on this website. So now her story is filtered into the greater Digital Public Library of America, which is pretty neat if you ask me.
Mm.
So there are
Yeah.
her sisters at Martin Park. It's not coming in very fast, but so have a look at it. And I actually sent in some of my own documents. If you have documents, I'd say if you want to share them with other people besides just putting them on Ancestry or something, here it tells you how to do that right here.
Mm. That's neat. I hadn't heard about this one.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is the shorter version, recollectionwi.org for the general public. These are some of my documents that I sent in, my sister and I sent in, our German letters. And this is a mortgage release signed in Berlin for my ancestor who was in Fond du Lac. So I would recommend sending something in because I think it's kind of fun to be able to share things like that with the general public. So that's the local one for regular people. This is the Recollection Wisconsin for all the institutions. And then that filters into here. So guess what? I was surprised. I thought the one for the regular public did not go through. Let's see. To the DPLA itself, but my ancestors' letters are all here in the DPLA site now.
Oh, wow.
So it
Cool.
makes me feel important.
As well, you should.
There, see, isn't that pretty neat?
That
Yeah.
is.
Definitely.
So I'd recommend sending something in. If you want help with it, let me know because it's not too hard to do. And if you're interested, if you get used to the DPLA, they have another one called Europe. Has anyone heard of that? Europe.
Nope.
I can't pronounce it.
you're all-
This is
Anna?
the
European.
original site, and the DPLA was founded much later, but based on this site. And this is European records. So those doing German heritage might be interested in searching here. And it's collecting, it's aggregating digital sites from all over Europe, from universities and museums and you name it, they're all in here. And they do exhibits, but you can actually go in there and search and find all sorts of interesting odds and ends. So, I'm always looking for my German Gottlieb Findeisen. So it doesn't necessarily have anything on him, but if you start poking around, you never know what you're going to find. Plus, they were working on a section of digital newspapers, which I'm not sure how far they got with it, but eventually maybe there'll be tons of European newspapers here at this site. So I'd recommend poking around and seeing what you can find.
What,
I don't know if they have the newspapers listed.
what kind of letters did you have in there that you?
Oh yeah,
put-
here are some. Those letters we have you can go look at them yourself, but our guy came over in around 1842. And here he is. We have the letters in our possession. The envelope was addressed to Gottlieb Findeisen in Milwaukee. That's it. And we still have it. And the letters are written in a script called Current with a K. So no, it's not even like the script from the turn of the century. It's older and modern Germans cannot read it. It's really hard to, I don't know, can anyone see that?
Yeah,
So we had to have it translated, and we have those translations up there also. But this letter, one of the letters is talking about where people are going to live, and the people mentioned in the letters had to do with the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Church. So we identified those names, which is pretty neat. But then he ended up in Fond du Lac, and we have a letter from a friend of his in Leipzig and asking where, he said some mutual friends are coming to the United States. Where's a good place for Germans to settle? Should they bring their own seeds? Things like that. And then later on that mortgage release is William Reed, W-R-E-D-E, who was one of the founders of the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Church, had signed, apparently given some money to our ancestor to open a grocery store in Fond du Lac. And this was it, he had to have a mortgage release, which William Reed was in Germany, in Berlin. And so it had to be sent there. So it's signed by a man who was the ambassador at the time from the United States to Germany, and he was later a governor of, I think it was Ohio. So we did research on all the different names in these things. It's a lot of
Wow.
fun.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah. So I thought those were worth sharing, you know, because they do show something about Wisconsin history. So if any of you have records like that,
Yeah.
put them up here and they'll be filtered into the DPLA.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. It made me think, actually, the man was my stepfather, but from the age of 6 on. So he was always my dad to me. But they were Italians out of Chicago that settled in Milwaukee. And he ran a candy store, Frank's Candy Kitchen, downtown Milwaukee on Wisconsin Avenue. It was kind of across from the library. I don't know, 17th Street, if I remember, something like that. And oddly enough, I found a bunch of odds and ends and things about the candy shop.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I was thinking now they might be interested in something like that.
Yeah, definitely. If you go through and look
Yeah.
at the one for the local people, you'll see people have memories of Gillette and different towns and all sorts of
Sure.
different things like that. Somewhere in here they have where you can search by a map. And that's pretty neat too, to see if you look at Door County or something and see what they have. I'm not seeing where it is now, but I haven't looked at this enough lately. But I would just recommend poking around. You never know what you might find in both
You know-
Europeana and DPLA.
Now that you mentioned that little tidbit about that candy shop in
Uh-huh.
Milwaukee, I was just it brought something to mind that my grandmother, when I think she was born in Milwaukee, but all of her siblings were born in Germany. But when she was, I think, 8 years old, she twisted the wrappers individually, had a job wrapping candy.
Wow.
Oh,
And it could very well be that maybe it was at that same candy company.
oh no. Well, this was a shop. I don't,
Oh, really?
come to think of it, I don't know if they made it or not, but I do have 2 glass jars. One's a big ewer type thing, that was in that shop back in the day. I
Yeah.
still have that, that he
That's what-
displayed the candies. And I guess I'm getting the idea, it was kind of a neighborhood hangout. I mean, like you go to the coffee shop, a lot of the neighbors would come. It was kind of in the Italian ward in Milwaukee.
So
But that's what I loved about Milwaukee. There were so many different
Ethnic
little
groups.
enclave. Yeah,
You should write up a story and send it in.
I
Take
should.
a picture
Yeah.
of the candy jars.
Oh, I should do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on my to-do
That'd
list.
be interesting. Yeah.
Well, we're getting to be about an hour now. Does anyone have anything to add or Steve?
Yeah, I left a message for you, but it's pertinent for this. I've got a need to look something up about 20 years ago, but it's also pertinent for genealogy going way back in our area. And that's, I think we've answered it before, but I want to get a definite answer again. Green Bay Gazette. I want to go back 20 years, but just for genealogy, like the Advocate,
Mhm.
way we can do that, or is that kind of, you have to buy that?
I think that Green Bay Public Library has a few things online if you have a Green Bay card, but I don't think they have too many dates online. Newspapers.com is available through the library edition, but they do not have the Press Gazette there. And even if from my experience, my friend has the subscription newspapers.com and they really locked it up. And unfortunately, these days you have to pay extra to see the Press Gazette. So the thing
I
you
have to
could
get
do,
something.
if
20
you
years ago.
if you know the date, we could send
Yeah.
away. I can send away and get the microfilm sent here.
I have the date and the pages.
Then we could we could fill in a request to have the microfilm sent.
Okay, I talked to you after then, right?
Yeah, if you give me the date, I can do that. I can fill that out. And your
You want that
library.
later or now?
What?
Later, right?
Did you write an email to me? What?
No, not yet.
Well, send me the specific date and I'll look it up. I think I showed people last time how to look up microfilms on the university catalog. And then once I have the exact, what I do is I'll order the microfilm for you. It'll be sent here and then you'll have to arrange to go in the Laurie History Room to view it with the microfilm reader.
Okay,
Other than that, you could go to Green Bay. I don't know if their library's open or not.
I just need copies of like 2 pages. That's all I need. Okay,
Well, that's the way to do it.
Laura Kayakan at what?
DoorCountyLibrary.org. It's L, just my first initial. And then the last name.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay,
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up and then we'll meet in this first and third Thursdays at 2 o'clock.
So it's the 19th, is the next one.
Yes. I think I have it on the calendar already.
Yep. Okay, good.
Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
and
you.
attending.
It was fun, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
bye.